Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 6th edition of Talkdeath, Canadian Funeral Law with Nathan Romagnoli and Janet McCausland. Hi, Nathan.
Hello, everybody.
And hi, Janet.
Hello.
So Mark P. Leclerc on YouTube is asking, being Canadian myself, I am just curious what provinces allow for home funerals, and he puts /burials, but I think that those are two very different things. So maybe we can address, home funerals and potentially home burials. Do any provinces allow it at this point?
I think I could speak to the home-based funeral scenario in that Ontario has some unique regulations that do not prohibit individuals, residents of Ontario, from handling their loved ones who pass away on their own. So the home-based funeral movement, which is truly coming at us at a relatively rapid scale with respect to us being pushed and prodded by the general public, is certainly here. And so we're working with the public who inquire about those things to assist them through the process of a home-based funeral, which can allow for family members, relatives, loved ones alike to almost entirely address the scope of caring for their loved one and memorializing them in their homes. There are certainly regulations in Ontario, as an example, that need to be addressed. For example, the common task of registering a death with the province of Ontario. Nothing states that a funeral director, such as myself or many others, are needing to go through that process. A family can certainly do that on their own. So we are in a process of trying to broach that topic to the general public, to address needs for families to care for their loved ones at home, perhaps with a little bit of guidance from us. And that's also where a number of other death-type professionals come into play, death midwives, doulas, and things like this within the home-based funeral movement.
Right. So that brings up a few things. So essentially at this point, Ontario, we know that, yes, you can bring a body at home, wash a body at home, have a viewing at home. I know in Quebec, there's something like an 18-hour limitation before a body has to be embalmed by law, which is basically leaves it virtually impossible to have a home viewing. But it's also been said that those laws are not really, policed, so to speak. And I think you might have to find a funeral director that would be willing to accommodate. But in Ontario, you're saying that there is not necessarily a limit before the body has to be embalmed?
Truly, with respect to home-based funerals, I mean, the reality is helping families understand, what embalming is, or what any form of preparation to a body is, why that benefits the body, or perhaps why it may benefit the family. Communicating these realities of changes to our human body after we pass away, I think, satisfies the needs to help families understand when it's appropriate to make the final disposition of their loved one, or allow somebody to then take over the task of, say, delivering them to a crematorium or bringing them to a cemetery. A lot of this misunderstanding, I think, truly comes from a lack of education with respect to how long could you keep a deceased human body in your home? Do you need to refrigerate them? Do you need to have embalming take place? Helping to educate the public is the key in empowering them to make responsible decisions, I think.
Janet, are you seeing home funerals and natural burial being complementary?
Oh, absolutely. I was going to recommend a movie called A Will for the Woods. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, in it, it's a very touching story of a man who, doesn't want to die in a hospital. He's a doctor himself, and he dies at home, and it's very moving. And then over the course of the movie, they talk about how he is fighting for changes so that he can have a natural burial. So I certainly see them as complementary, and the dead the death midwifery movement in terms of helping people at home, and it is a milestone. And that's sort of, you know, we spoke a little bit about religion as well, and so you know, it is a milestone in people's bodies. So you do want to have some kind of service, some kind of commemoration, and I think all of those together, you know, can certainly go hand in hand if people want to do it in a more natural way.